Okay, so I think we can start introducing everyone. So hello and welcome to the AI Plan for You webinar about the open call for innovators. My name is Marina and I'm from F6S. Today joining me, we already have here Andrea from FBK and my colleague Luisa from F6S also. And I will quickly share the agenda for today. So first, I will give the word to Andrea. He's one of our project coordinators. He will give you an overview of the project and an overview of the open call as well. Then we will have Alfonso. He is not here yet, but he will join us soon enough. And he will be talking about the more specifically about the track A of this open call in terms of more technicalities. Okay, and then we will have Luisa explaining to all of you how you can apply, where, and what you need to submit for your application to be considered. And then at the end, we will have some time for Q&A, but you can also post your questions in the chat or in the Q&A chat. Also, we will be sure to answer all of your doubts and to clarify everything for you. So this being said, I believe I can give the word to Andrea. I will start.
Thanks a lot, Marina. Let me share my screen and apologize. They just started some working here in the building like 1 minute ago. I hope it is not too disturbing. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so welcome everybody. I am Andrea Micheli from FBK, and I am the coordinator of this European project called the AIPlan4EU. With me, with FBK, we have a lot of partners within the project, essentially of two kinds. So we have research institutions scattered throughout Europe, all of them focusing in planning technology. We will enter into the details in a second. And several companies and small medium enterprises that are instead providing us with use cases for proving planning technology to be useful and impactful for the European market. So before entering into the detail of our project, I need to introduce a little bit this AI4EU initiative. That is an initiative from the European Commission that was developed by means of another Horizon 2020 project that is aimed, and actually the platform is there, you can access at this link AI4Europe.eu, is the European platform for the AI on demand. And the idea there is to create a portal where AI assets, AI use cases, and people working in either research or developing products involving or using AI can let's say, be together and share each other's expertise, so that the aim will be to create this one-stop shop for anyone looking for AI technology, AI knowledge, and so on. This project delivered this platform, and AIPlan4EU, together with other initiatives, so this is like a broad overview of all the initiatives concerning AI in Europe. We are here together with AI4EU. We have like these 6 projects together with us that are bringing content, that are bringing, let's say, technology to this European platform to start to populate it and to start to giving a little bit of momentum in order to make it actually work. So this is, let's say, in a couple of words to highlight how the project came about and where we are in the European AI ecosystem. Now, our project, so AIPlan4EU, is focused on automated planning. Since you are here for track A, probably some of you will already know what planning is, but in a nutshell, the idea is to have some kind of system specification that tells you what your system can do. Here, system is kind of a jolly word. It can mean different things. It can be, for example, a factory that you want to control in order to automate the production. It can be a robot and you specify the capabilities of the robot that you want to plan for, and so on. So you want to have a description of what your system can do. You want to have a similar description of what is the configuration your system is in and what is the aim. So what do you want this system to do for you? The job of the planner is to automatically synthesize a plan or a strategy, so a way to control this system in order to reach the desired goal. So in a nutshell, this is what automated planning aims to do. And there are different techniques and there are different, let's say, nuances of this problem formulation, but the project is about bringing planning into the European market and in the European platform for AI. Example applications, I listed here just a few. So for example, you might want to coordinate the activities of robots. So you want to achieve essentially automation in a flexible, robust, and cost-effective way. You might want to plan the activities in a factory, so to maximize production and minimize costs. Or you want to, for example, organize the agricultural practices. So you have people and machine that need to operate together in order to achieve a certain practice to follow a certain let's say objective. And yeah, so as I already said, AIPlan4EU will try to reinforce the AI for Europe platform by bringing planning as a sort of first-class citizen there, by exposing planning technology and by making it available in a number of use cases. So we posed ourselves a number of innovation goals. I will be quick on this one. You can also find some details on our website. But what we want to do is to make planning more accessible to practitioners and innovators. And this is exactly what this open call is about. So to actually reinforce the effort that the project is making in order to create an abstraction layer, I will talk about it in a moment, that is usable and simple to operate for practitioners and innovators that want to try out planning technology. Then we want to facilitate the integration of planning and other ICT technologies. So we recognize that if you want to use planning, probably you don't want, let's say, to play with it on your laptop, but probably you want to integrate in an existing ICT workflow in order to solve some problem in your business. And so we need to somehow come up with ideas, with technology to facilitate this kind of integration that is currently quite difficult. Then we want to make planning relevant in diverse application sectors. And here we already launched several open calls for looking for applications sectors and application ideas. And also in this open call, we have the track B and the track C that are focused on finding and providing demonstrators for different application sectors. And then we have, of course, the objective of integrating the planning technology within the AI for Europe platform. Then we also have to, let's say, side effect goal in a way, so facilitate the learning of planning and reskilling in order to lower the access barrier to the technology and to educate the people and the AI practitioners about planning technology. And then hopefully to standardize and drive academic research towards applications. So we are an innovation action within the Horizon 2020 framework. And what we want to do is really to be relevant for the application domains. Now, coming more concretely to what we are doing on the technical side, let's say on the project, this is a schema representing the vision. So what we would like to construct is this thing in the middle. Concretely, this is going to be a Python library. I will show you a demo in a second. The idea there will be to have a sort of an API for representing a planning problem and to ask planning queries. Here, I talk about planning queries in a very general way. It can be, solving a planning problem, so synthesize a plan for me. It can also mean visualize a plan. It can mean validate a plan. So here we are kind of flexible in the kind of engine or the kind of capabilities related to planning that we want to offer. But the idea will be to have it in a sort of planner independent way. And then the library is capable of calling one or more planning engines that are installed on your system. And it will do the needed translations for you. So if a planning engine is applicable for the planning query that you posed, then among all the planning engines that are installed in the system, the library will select the subset that are capable of solving that problem and will give you the choice essentially to which one to use. And you can switch from one or the other in a seamless way, or you can run them in parallel. So we have several goodies or several, let's say, technology for handling, let's say, this blue part of the figure. Going instead on the application side, so the orange part of the figure, what we want to construct and what we want to show is that it is possible to develop these, we call them technology-specific bridges. So sort of glue code, pieces of software that are attached to a certain technology. For example, if you are in a warehouse, you maybe have your warehouse management system that is handling, let's say, where the pallets are, what are the orders that you have to fulfill within the day, and so on. So you need essentially a sort of translation, a sort of software that is able to get this data, out of this data creates a planning query. Then the library will actually manage all the needed tasks in order to solve this planning query. And then you need to interpret back the solution. So to lift, let's say, the solution from the planning level to the warehouse management system level. So speaking about forklifts and orders and pallets and so on. And this is true for different application sectors. We have within the project 7 use cases that are provided by our partners, plus, as you can see, the last one is your use case, in the sense that we are actively looking for additional use cases within this schema. Now, as I mentioned, the Unified Planning Framework, so the central thing that we are constructing is a library. You can find it here on github.com/AIPlan4EU/UPF. We are developing it, so it's under development, but it's already usable. You have a live demo there that you can try. I will, of course, share all the slides afterwards. It's not only about plan generation, it's about planning more in general. So it allows, for example, to do grounding, to do validation, to do different kind of stuff. And the things that we are doing are increasing. So we have like more than 1 year of work ahead of us. So we can actually expand quite a bit the capabilities. It's written in Python. And our focus here is really on usability and expressiveness. So we want it to make simple for people to try it out. If you are familiar with it, we would like to be sort of the PyTorch of planning technology. That's, let's say, the underlying goal. It is permissively open source, so it's Apache 2.0, so it's very compatible also with closed source license or people that have problems with NDAs and IPR issues. And again, it's under development, so you can follow the development is totally open, so you can follow everything, and if you want also contribute, there at the link that you can see in the slides. Now I wanted to show you real quick, let me see how I'm faring with time, what is a TSB. I talked about a little bit earlier, so it's a software that uses planning service within a certain application in a way. Example, so for example, the integration in the robotic framework, for example, ROSplan, if you're familiar with it, tries to essentially bring planning technology to the robotic operating system. In our lingo, that will be a technology-specific bridge. Or for example, the example that I gave before, so integrating with a certain warehouse management system to get the orders, you plan for them, and then you use a manufacturer execution system in order to dispatch the plan to workers in your warehouse, for example. So that will be also a TSB. So in the schema at the bottom of the slides, you can see essentially any kind of technology that makes use of the Unified Planning Framework, so our planning technology, and interacts with a certain use case ICT infrastructure. So this is in a nutshell what a TSB is. And similarly, integrating a planning engine, well, Alfonso will enter much more into the details in the following section of the webinar. But from high level, essentially is some planning related technology that can offer a service through the Unified Planning Framework. So it can be planners, validators, repair tools, plan visualization, and so on. The idea there, and I highlighted, I underlined that through the Unified Planning Framework, we really would like to keep the UPF sort of planner agnostic, so that if there is a certain functionality that you would like to offer, for example, in your planning engine, should you decide to apply for the funding that I will talk about in a moment, what we really need to do is to understand what is this capability, how to model it in a tool independent way in our library, and then create the needed connection between these between the library, essentially, let's say, and your engine, so that if somebody else wants to integrate the same functionality with a different tool, maybe with a little bit of, let's say, with a different twist on it, we can reuse the code and we can, let's say, follow our idea of having sort of an aggregator of planning engines that we call the Unified Planning Framework. After the presentation of Alfonso, I will give you a little bit of demo. So to show you, let's say, in code, what it means to create a planning engine and how to integrate it. But again, you have here, it's an interactive Google Colab demo, so a Python notebook that you can play with that shows exactly what it means to create a planning engine and how to integrate it. Talking about the project again, so one of the requirements that you will see in the open call is to integrate the technology that you bring within the project in the AI4EU platform. For us, this actually means two things. So we want to integrate ourselves and also everything that comes from the open call as services of the platform. And in particular, on the platform, there is this experiment subsystem that allows people to essentially play with AI pipelines. So you can imagine, for example, having sort of an AI classifier. You have a data set of images and you want to classify images. So you sort of you have a catalog of different assets that you can play with. You can drag and drop them directly on the platform, and then you can create a deployment of this pipeline directly in the platform, and you can test it essentially. And we would like to do the same thing. And the purpose of it will be to showcase the potential of AI planning with sort of a zero installation requirement, so that people that are potentially interested in planning technology can play with it without the need of installing anything on their machine. They can see what we did in the different use cases without, again, installing anything. So it's a sort of try before you buy philosophy, if you want. The second kind of integration is to provide our software as a downloadable resources there. In the platform, you will see there is a set of resources let's say, collected in a catalog, and we created, let's say, a dedicated section for planning technology, and so we can contribute there and give visibility to the technology that is provided via our project. And in addition, all the use cases description, training material will be published as well in the AI4EU platform, so that it is available to the whole, let's say, European community. Coming to the open calls, in the project, we have two kinds of open calls. One, let's say, we call them call for use cases. So there we really seek new ideas for where to apply planning in different businesses. And this is a call we actually just closed the second one of this kind. We will have another one later this year. So maybe if you know somebody that might be interesting. The call that is currently open instead is an open call for innovators. And the one that is currently open is the first one. We will have two throughout the project. And here the objective is to enrich, from a software point of view, the efforts of the project. And so we are seeking essentially three things. One is to have new engines, and the webinar of today is exactly about this one. So the track A of this open call is to contribute additional planners. Here, planners, again, is in a general way. So it doesn't need to be like a plan generation technique. It can be a plan visualization. It can be a validator, and so on. New technologies and technology-specific bridge. So to find, let's say, technologies that are relevant for our activities and create the needed connection between our library and the target technology, and develop the use cases elicited in the previous open calls. So these are, let's say, the three objectives that we have within this call. And today we will focus in track A, so the contributions in planners. So this is it for the general overview. And yeah, of course, if you have any questions, just write in the chat, or at the end we will have the Q&A section. I will be there. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Andrea. Of course, we will answer all the questions. Some people are already posting them in the chat. We will answer at the end, but there is one specific question from Victor that is very related to what you have just said, Andrea. but I'm not sure if Victor is already clarified on this, because you talked about this during your presentation. What does AI on demand means in the context of AI4EU? What does it mean to integrate on AI4EU?
Right. So it's essentially what I said in the like third last slide. So that is essentially a platform. If you go to that website, you will find that there is like a content management system in which there are different AI assets, different AI people and companies working in AI, and let's say different, they call it verticals, so sort of domains of applications of AI. And within our project, we will mainly contribute assets, and we will enrich the AI4EU experiment platform, where actually people can play somehow with the AI technology, with the planning technology. So that this is exactly what we mean by that.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. Meanwhile, Victor answered in the chat that it was already answered, but thank you for reinforcing the idea. So now we welcome Alfonso, that is already here. He will talk about track A of the open call, more in a technical point of view. So Alfonso, thank you for being here. I will hand you the floor.
Hello, everyone. So let me see, how can I share my slides? I'm not very familiar with this.
You should have a button on the bottom saying share screen.
Yes. Yeah.
Then you can choose which. Yeah, exactly.
I think you can see now. Okay, very good. So you full screen. Okay, so I will briefly describe what we are doing in work package 4 of the project that concerns the integration of the planning engines into the platform. So the objectives of this work package are the following ones: supply the UP framework, the Unified Planning Framework that was described before, with some selected planning engines. Each of them should be easily usable with in an implementation that is as much as possible transparent to the user, and with as many functionality as possible exposed by the engine. We support different modalities of the integration of the planning engines, and in particular two ones, a shallow integration, basically through external files, in which the interaction between the planner and the UP is offline. This can be useful for giving to the planner the problem and receiving from the planner the solution. So the interaction is an offline interaction. Another modality is having a deep integration through direct data structures. And this could be useful, for example, when the planner is used together with execution. So we have interleaved the planning and execution. So this is an online interaction between the UP and the planner. And each planning engine should work according to different possible different operating modes that are supported by the planner. The work package 4 started only a few months ago, so work is really still in progress. We have 6 planning approaches that were also in the proposal of the project, and each of these approach has a different task in the project. Classical planning, of course, and the leader here is the University of Basel, and another participant is University of Brescia. Numerical planning, and the leader is University of Brescia. Temporal planning, the leader here is Fondazione Bruno Kessler, and the participants partners are University of Brescia and University of Örebro. Then we have multi-agent planning, and the leader here is University Sapienza di Roma. Refinement planning, and the leader is CNRS, and combined task motion planning, and the leader here is University of Örebro, and CNRS also participates. These are 6 planning approaches that we are currently integrating. Part of them are already integrated in the platform. Now I will briefly give a few minutes, a very short description of the work that is planned for each of these approach. So concerning classical planning, we plan to integrate at least 3 planning engines, fast downward, of course, given that the leader is the University of Basel, with the 3 operating modes: one-shot planning, satisficing planning, and anytime planning. Then we intend also to integrate Plan-Utils, which is a library for setting up Linux-based environments for developing and running and evaluating planners, and also BFWS, Best First with Search Planner, at least in a lightweight integration, and at least the dual BFWS planner that was the winner, not the winner, the runner-up of the IPC 2018. Regarding numeric planning, we have already integrated in the first version of the integration LPG and ANHSP, that are 2 planners that we are developing and that we have developed at the University of Brescia.
Alfonso,
yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I see that also people and also myself, we are still like on the slides called planning engines in AIPlan4EU. So we are a few slides back. I think you moved ahead. And we are not seeing them full screen, so that might be the reason. We're actually seeing the one in the window. So I don't know if, okay, now I can see numeric planning integration.
That's very strange. Okay, now I removed the full screen option, and so probably now, can you see that I'm changing slides now? You see that?
Yeah. You can sense them in this window, and it's fine. Thanks.
It's better. Thank you, Andrea. So I was saying that for numeric planning, we plan to integrate 2 planners, LPG that supports numeric planning with linear expressions in conditions and effects, and it has 3 operating modes: one-shot planning, anytime planning, and plan repair. And the ENHSP, that is also another numeric planner that supports, in addition to linear expression, also non-linear expressions in condition and effects, and 3 operating modes: one-shot planning, satisficing, optimal, and anytime planning. Regarding temporal planning, we are going to integrate, part of this work is already done, part is in progress, Tamer, that's a planner of FBK that supports the language ANML, fragment of it with intermediate conditions and effects and numbers in some limited way, and the timed goals. And here the operating modes that will be supported are one-shot planning and plan validation, which is not a plan generation. So this is a modality that we are also considering, not only generating plans, but also validating plans. The second planner is Aries from CNRs that supports, is a kind of complementary to Tamer in the sense that supports ANML, but the fragment of HTN, so hierarchical transition networks. And LPG, for temporal planning in the context of PDDL 2.1 and 2.2, actually also. The fourth approach that we are considering is multi-agent planning, and here the leader is the University Sapienza of Rome, and the work here is in progress, and we consider first a centralized approach with a number of features like deterministic and non-deterministic planning, complete knowledge, compilations into classical and full planning, and we also want to include the notion of multiple agents in the UP, of course, in order to deal with multi-agent planning. Then there is also activity on multi-agent using distributed algorithms and planners. And we are also considering integration of epistemic multi-agent planners and reinforcement learning techniques for multi-agents. Regarding refinement planning, the leader of this task and planning approach is CNRS, and we want to integrate areas developed at LAS to do hierarchical planning with the temporal features, considering the HTM fragment of ANML, and the focus is on optimal scheduling. The operating modes are one-shot planning, optimal planning, and anytime. Then we also want to integrate, want to support in the UP HDDL, which is a standard language for hierarchical transition network planning, built on top of PTTL. And with this, we also want to integrate the planner hypertension that was the winner of the 2020 hierarchical planning competition for the total order track. Okay, so this is a very brief overview of the planning approaches and planners that we are integrating into the platform and integrating with the UP. An additional task, an important task parallel to this, is the development of a repository with the test cases of the integrated planners. Here, we don't want to test the performance, but the correctness, in some sense, the robustness of the system to considering the different features or subclass of problems in the planning approach. So we have developed this repository that has a section for each planning approach. And each section has two subsections. One is dedicated to the formalization of specific planning problems for the planning approach and for testing separate specific aspects of the planning approach that we consider important. And this can be done through external files or through a direct integration with the UP. And the second section regards the operating modes that are supported by the planner, so different runs of the planner with the different modalities that are supported using the planning problems in the problem formulation section. So we are also putting in this repository a collection of tests for the integrated planners. Okay. We work in terms of organization. Each task works independently from the others and has its own meetings. Plus, we have global meetings with all the task leaders of the work package that are organized in two kinds of meetings: a long meeting that we have every month and a short meeting that we have every 2 weeks to check if there is any particular problem that has be that should be pointed out as soon as possible. So what we expect as a work package 4 in concerning the proposal, we expect that in the proposal there is a clear, in the proposal of a new planning engine, there is a clear indication of which kind of operation modes is supported by the engine that is proposed, what kind of integration will be first, whether it will be deep integration or shallow integration or other ideas of integrating the planner, and if the planner fits in some of the current planning approaches. This is not mandatory, could be also be the case that it does not fit, and it will be evaluated whether the proposal is suitable for the project. We also expect participation in our meetings, maybe selected meetings or all the meetings, where in this meeting, each planning approach and author of a planning engine that takes part of the project gives a status update regarding the progress in the integration with the UP and in the definition of the use cases and any possible issues, problems that arise concerning the interface with the UP that maybe is missing something that is important to have, or other things, issues related to the interaction with the UP and the other systems. Okay, so I think that to conclude this very brief presentation, it might be useful that Andrea give us a demonstration of what is the meaning of integrating a planning engine in concrete words.
Yes. So.
Okay, so I leave you the word now.
Thanks. So if you can stop sharing. I will be very quick. So I also posted in the slide, in the chat, a link for this interactive demo that I'm gonna walk through real quick, also because we're a little bit late with time. And essentially this demo is about how to, let's say, use, how to create a custom planning engine. Maybe before looking at that one, if you are completely new and haven't tried, let's say you can go to our repository. So that is the unified planning here. And if you see here, right, there is like the small example and so on, and you have another interactive demo. I will not go through it, but that gives you a little bit of idea of the basics. So it goes through how to install a couple of planning engines in this virtual system. And then it shows, let's say, how to use the basic API to create a small problem, a classical planning problem, and to solve it with different engines, also in parallel. How to do input-output, so how to read and write PDDL problems, for example, and so on. So it gives you a quick overview of the basics. Instead, the demo that I just linked, sorry, there is the zoom in the middle for of my browser, is about, let's say, creating a custom engine and adding it to the set of engines that is between the platform. So it starts by installing the unified planning by means of pip. So if you are familiar with the Python packaging system, it's as simple as installing a normal Python package. And Alfonso was talking about a moment ago about this idea of operation modes. So the idea there that for us, a planning engine is an instance of a special class that is called the solver. And you can find also the documentation linked in the home page. So you have, let's say, all the solvers, and you have this particular class that is the base class for all the planning engines. Again, it's hard for me to change tab. And we essentially have to subclass it in order to add the behavior that we want. And this behavior can be, of course, anything depending on what you are after. So what I'm implementing here is a random walk trying with luck to solve a planning problem, but it can be anything really. It can be before in the slides I saw the proposal for a goal recognition problem that is also possible. We need to add some support on the library side, but it's definitely of interest. And yeah, so how it works is pretty simple. So you create this class, you inherit the basic methods. That is, well, you give a name to the engine that you are characterizing. Plus, we have this special method that is called supports that taking input one instance of a class that is called problem kind that describes somehow the characteristics, the expressiveness characteristics of the problem that this engine is able to support. So if you are familiar, maybe, I don't know, this technique works only on classical planning, so it doesn't support numerical fluence, or no, this actually doesn't support time and so on. We have a characterization of the problem that is automatically generated by the library, and this method should answer the question, is this planning engine capable of dealing with this problem kind? Alfonso before talked about this one-shot planner operation mode that is like the standard, let's call it the IPC operation mode. So you have a planning problem and you want to synthesize a plan for it. So that's what it is. And so in order to create an engine that supports this operation mode, you simply return true in this method that is called is one-shot planner yes. And you have to implement a method called solve that takes a problem and returns a plan. So that is essentially the job of the planner. Inside the body of the method, you can really do whatever you want. So in some of our cases, Alfonso talked about it before, we have a reading of the problem data structure, constructing in memory the problem specification inside of a planning engine, and then run the solution technique, the search engine, and then get back the plan. Some others instead, what they do is to print it out in PDDL or in animal format, invoke the planner, and then parse the planning back. I think people in France are also working in communicating via gRPC, so in a sort of between process communication in order to transmit the information to a planning service and get the solution back. So really anything here, the implementation here is not really important. I played a little bit this morning to create this random work in Python. What is interesting is that once you created this subclass, you can register inside of the library like this. So it's pretty simple. You simply add, you communicate to the library. Look, there is another solver available that is called YOLO Planner in this case. You can call it however you want, and then you can start solving problems. So Alfonso also mentioned it. We have a database, sort of a repository of different planning problems. The link is in Alfonso's slides. And you can take any of this problem and try to solve it. So for example, in this particular case, that is a one-shot planner, you simply ask for a one-shot planner, selecting it by name. Here we have different ways of selecting planners as P, and then you start solving it. For example, you can also put this in parallel, so create a parallel portfolio of different planners by simply saying M factory parallel and specifying the set of names that you want, and so on. So this is in a nutshell what you have to do in order to integrate with the planning engine. Of course, should you have, let's say, more technical questions, we have a dedicated mailing list, AIPlan4EU support. Feel free to ask them and we will try to answer them in a timely fashion. Yeah, I think that's it, also in the interest of time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you a lot, Andrea and Alfonso. We actually have two technical questions that maybe we can answer right now about the language that you are using. So this is in Python, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people are asking if the interface library will also be provided in C.
Not really right now. So we will not provide a C interface, but we are going to provide sort of a compatibility layer that is based on gRPC, so that you can actually invoke the UPF that runs in another process by means of inter-process communication mediated by gRPC. And that of course is language agnostic. So you can call it from C, from C++, from Java, whatever you want.
Okay, so you basically answered both questions. Okay. Okay.
And yeah, for the second question, no, not really. You have different possibilities there. So if you have your planner implemented in C++ or in other languages, you have different options. So either again you create some kind of inter-process communication, or you communicate via file, or you expose out of your C++ planner an interface in Python that is possible by means of PyBind 11 or other means. And then in the same process, you invoke your planner. We have examples of both, and they are linked in the template for track A. Again, if you have any questions, just drop us an email. Sorry,
Okay.
Marina.
No, thank you. It was helpful for sure for the people that asked those technical questions, and we are here for that, to answer and to clarify everything. So thank you again, Alfonso and Andrea, and I believe I will give the floor now to Luisa.
Okay, thank you, Marina. So let me share my screen here. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm Luisa, I'm from F6S, and F6S is one of the partners of the project. And we are responsible here for managing the open calls. So today I'm going to discuss with you some details about the open calls and the best way to apply and to prepare your proposals. So here we have a vision of the overall solution in AIPlan4EU that Andreas mentioned previously. And this open call will focus in different tracks, the open call for innovators. And today we are focused on the track A. So I'm going to explain how to apply to the track A, but the process and the procedures are the same. The only thing different here is the scope of each track And for sure, if you are here because of track A, you choose this option in your applications. This open call, the open call for innovators, is one type of the open calls in these projects. We intend to launch 2 open calls for innovators this year. The open call that's running now is the first one, and the second one will be launched by the end of this year. And as I mentioned before, we are focusing here on the track A in order to explain better about this track. And this track aims to engage innovators to develop the integration of new planners. So regarding the budget, for track A, it's planned to fund the awarded projects with 60,000 euros. We will select 5 projects, and the selected projects will be committed with the project for 7 months. But I will better explain this part for you. Here you can see the general process of the open call, because here we follow a general process that started with your application. So you will apply your proposal in the F6S platform, and we will check if your application is eligible. It's a first eligibility filter that we usually do, just to check, for example, if you are from an eligible country and the overall proposal agree with the open call rules, and if the template is there, because it's a very, very important part of the applications is to fill out the template and with your proposal, describing your proposal. And then our internal partners from the consortium will evaluate your proposal according to some criteria that were previously defined. And if it's selected, you will sign a subgrant agreement with the consortium and then advance to the implementation of your project for the acceleration program that we call the sprints and demo. Each sprints last 2 months, and one last month is dedicated for the demo part. So here you have a very practical overview of how to apply. The first step is to access our website, the project website, and then you click here on apply now, just to open the open call page. There you will find a brief summary and a general description of the open call scope and what we are looking for and the fundings. And then you will click on the track A option. So that is the track that you intend to apply. But of course, if you are intending to apply to track B and track C, the process will be the same. So as I mentioned, you will find the basic and the summarized information about the track. And then you should, on the bottom of the page, there are some links to open some very, very relevant documents in order for you to contextualize about the overall project and the open calls. So you should start to download the open call text. That is a brief summary of the open call and the project. And here, then you will download the guide for applicants. I consider this document the most important one, because there you will find the guidelines to apply, and all the open call rules are there, and you will find different links, for example, to a list of eligible countries, to open the templates and the documents required, and a brief explanation about the funding and the payment procedures, and everything regarding the open call you will find in this document. And then after reading the guide for applicants, you should download the template of track A, because this document, in this document, you will describe your proposal, you detail this proposal for the evaluators later on, check if your proposal fits the project. So, and after doing this, after filling out the document, you will click on the bottom of the page, and then you will be guided to fill a form. And this form is very simple one, where you will put some data, some personal data, and you will choose the track that you would like to apply, and then you will upload the template. So I'm here just showing the very small example of this template. It's a short document where you will fill some details, for example, about the description of the planning engine, some profiles, and your work plan. That is very important. So just try to go into details what the document requests in order to prepare a quality proposal and a very clear description, because based on this document, evaluators will check if you can be selected or not. So here in the form, you will also find a link to download this document, and then after download and filling out the document, you will upload again in the platform. And there are some other documents that you can upload that is optional. For example, if you have a pitch to illustrate your proposal, you can upload there. And there are some very specific questions. For example, if you are applying as an individual or as an organization, and etc. So after doing this, after submitting your application in the form, we advanced with the evaluation process. The evaluation consists of 3 stages. The first one is the consortium partners will select the best proposal based on these 4 criteria: challenge fit, technology innovation, impact, and work plan. And then we will advance for online interviews, but the interviews are optional. So it doesn't mean that you are going to be invited for an interview, only if the evaluators would like to check information, and if they have to make a decision, they will invite you for interviews, but it's not mandatory. And then after that a consensus meeting board will be organized for the final decision, because we will have a list of applications, and sometimes they are very good, and the consortium will decide who will advance and who will not advance. So after this, there is a legal stage that we call the contracting phase, and in which the organizations and or the individuals will sign a contract with the consortium, and to be committed with for 7 months with the project. So here just some further information that I didn't mention before. Who can apply? Who is eligible to apply to this open call and to track A? So we target applicants, for example, single organizations with a valid VAT. So when I say organizations, it means that it can be medium or large companies, SMEs, startups, research institutes, universities, and different organizations, general organizations. We don't specify here what kind of organizations can apply. If you have a plan engine proposal, so you are eligible. And also individuals, for example, students, researchers, and that we call natural persons can also apply. So this is the two main targets of applicants that we are intending to select. So when so the open call is running now. It will be open by 20th April. So it's very important to get prepared before this deadline, because you have enough time to prepare your proposal and to prepare the documents according to the template. And of course, to send us questions if you have any questions. We have a channel open here, so but you need to have time to do that, because it's important for you to prepare a quality proposal for the evaluators. The eligible countries, EU members, European countries, and associated countries. In the guide for applicants, you find the links to access the list of countries. So it's easy, and I think it's, but if you have any questions about this, please send us, because we answer all kinds of questions. The numbers, so 5 projects will be selected, and the funding is 60,000 euros. So just to wrap up, because I mentioned here a lot of information. The first thing that you should do is to access the project website. There you find, of course, the guide to apply to the open call, but for sure you find other information, other very relevant information about the projects and about the use cases. And read the guideline for applicants, and this document is very, very important in order for you to know if you fit this open call or not, if it is a good opportunity for you or not. Prepare your proposal according to the template. This is a crucial part, and in this template we put a lot of questions in order to facilitate your description, and in order to go to the point and to be very concise in your description. And click on the button available on the page to fill the form. So as I showed you before in the previous slides, you will be guided to the F6S platform in order to fill the form and submit your applications. And submit before the 20th April. It's very, very important for us to know that you are interested, and you can apply until the 20th of April. So as a very, very summarized timeline, the open call is open now since the 17th of February. It will be open until the 20th of February. So the announcement of the selected proposals will be by 20th of the 20th of May, and the signature of the sub-grant agreement will be by the 20th of June. So it means that the acceleration program will start probably in July or August. So don't miss out this opportunity. You can see here that the instructions to apply is on the website, and we have an email address where you can send us an email, and we will be glad to answer any questions and in order to help you in this process. So thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, I will be glad to answer.
Thank you, Luisa. It was a very clear presentation of the steps to apply to our open call. If any of you has any questions now, it would be the time. I see that Andrea already answered some questions in the chat, but if anything is not clear, yes, Luisa? Okay.
Sorry, I just pressed a button. It was an accident.
If anyone has any more questions, or if anything is not clear, please pose your questions in the chat. As for the, someone asked about if we are funding only 5 projects overall, but this is not true, right? We are funding 5 projects in track A, and then we have more to be funded in track B and C. Okay, so these 5 that Luisa were talking and the 60K that Luisa was talking, it's only for track A, okay? But if you go to the website, everything is very clear there. Let me just share here very quickly. Can you see my screen? I believe. Okay. Now I stopped seeing the chat, so if anyone poses any questions, please, Andrea or Luisa, give me a little help.
I'll let you know.
Okay. So we already answered some questions. Oh, it appeared again for me. Someone posed, what are the deadlines for track B? Okay, so all the deadlines are the same. This open call, regardless which track you want to apply, will run until the 20th of April. Okay, so for track A, B, or C, you can until the 20th of April, you can apply. So you have some time, you can prepare, go to the website, everything is very clear there. But yeah, and we have the email address that is on the screen right now. So if you have any questions later on, please just send us an email. We will answer to all of your doubts. And even if you apply, let's say, and you finalize your application, and then you see that you need to improve something, just send us a message through the platform, F6S platform. We will be gladly reopen the application for you. It's fine. Until the deadline, you can always improve your application. It's not a problem. So feel free to do so, and if you have any questions, to message us or send an email. So I don't think there are any more questions, right? No? Okay, so just a quick note. Thank you, all of you. Thanks, Andrea, thanks, Alfonso, and thanks to Luisa for being our speakers today. And this webinar will be on our YouTube channel probably tomorrow or in a couple of days. I will be posting there the webinar, so you can always rewatch it. And well, if you have someone that might be interested in this, just send them the link and they will for sure appreciate it. So yeah, that's it. Thank you, everyone. And anything, just send us an email.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.